The Effects of the Early Industrial Revolution by Amber and April Williams. The first invention of the early Industrial Revolution was the spinning jenny. The spinning jenny...
Whoa. I think we need to start at the beginning. The early Industrial Revolution, also known as the Market Revolution, was a transition from an agricultural to an industrial society from the 1760s to the 1850s. Americans originally relied on agriculture because of the abundant land and scarcity of people. However, as people became more urbanized and population increased, especially in the North, a demand for jobs was created and therefore a demand for the early Industrial Revolution.
As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, the spinning jenny allowed women, known as spinsters, to produce as much cotton as 8 hand spinners. The spinning jenny revolutionized American society by increasing output in the textile industry and promoting self-sufficiency.
Further improving the textile industry, the water frame did the same job in creating cotton thread as the spinning jenny, but much faster. Invented by Richard Arkwright in 1769, the water frame, which was spun by water power mainly located in the north, became the fastest and most efficient way to thread cotton. This efficiency sparked the creation of the factory system, where people worked in one centralized location rather than the previous cottage system.
Created by James Watt in 1775, the steam engine used boiling water and steam as energy to power machines. The steam engine allowed factories to move away from rivers or water sources and locate in the interior of the country.
Combining the steam engine and the spinning jenny, the power loom became the best way to combine threads to make cloth. Using the steam engine to power it, the power loom was the first textile machine to be powered by a man-made invention.
With all these new inventions, America needed to build its infrastructure to support risky business ventures. The New York Stock Exchange helped people to invest in industry and grow the American economy.
Samuel Slater saw the rising industrialism and opportunities in America and brought factory plans to America from Britain. Slater implemented his plans in 1790 by building the first industrial mill in the United States called Slater Mills.
Using the steam engine, Robert Fulton created the steamboat in 1794. With the steamboat, travel was now possible going upstream on the Mississippi River. This created a faster and more efficient trade network in which raw materials could arrive at factories quicker.
The cotton gin, created by Eli Whitney in 1794, removed cotton seeds at a much faster rate than by hand. Therefore, cotton production was no longer reliant on how fast cotton seeds could be picked out, but on the efficiency of the slaves picking the cotton.
Eli Whitney in 1798 created a system of interchangeable parts, also known as the American System of Manufacturing, to increase the speed of production. Interchangeable parts decreased the need for skilled labor and created the assembly line, which was first utilized in the musket industry.
Thomas Jefferson also had an impact on the early Industrial Revolution with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. The Louisiana Purchase provided farmers with more land to produce crops and more raw materials that could be shipped to factories, giving Americans a sense of nationalism that made them want to buy the domestic products that they felt they helped to produce.
After the Revolutionary War, some British remained in America and aided Native Americans with weapons, incentivizing them to scalp and kill Americans in hopes of getting revenge on the Americans who had previously betrayed the English crown. On the seas, the British started to impress American sailors by forcing them to join the Royal Navy. However, the Americans were not impressed.
The American government under Thomas Jefferson retaliated against the British by enforcing the Embargo Act of 1807, which made all exports illegal, hoping to damage British-American trade. In reality, the Embargo Act hurt the American economy more than it helped, causing the War of 1812, but also inspiring American factories to be self-sufficient and bringing a wave of nationalism to America.
With this increasing self-sufficiency, America needed a better transportation network to move raw materials to the factories located in the north. The first of these internal improvements was the National Road, also known as the Cumberland Road. The National Road was the first federally funded road in the United States, and it helped to transport raw materials from the abundant west to the industrial east. Another important internal improvement was the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal connected the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean near New York City forming an oceanic trade network with the West. The Erie Canal spanned over 350 miles and helped populate the West by bringing pioneers who wanted to build a new life and would establish towns near the canal.
With transportation networks connecting major towns and cities, industry began to be centralized around industrial mills as more job opportunities were located there. The most famous industrial mill, located in Lowell, Massachusetts, hired young, unmarried girls because they could be paid less than men. This became known as the Lowell system and allowed women to work outside of the home for the first time.
The factory system was the first time that Americans got paid hourly wages rather than being paid based on how much they produced. This caused factory workers to feel as if their job did not matter and that they could easily be replaced, exactly like the parts and the products they made. Unfortunately, many factory owners exploited their workers, making them work long hours in dangerous situations for little pay. Therefore, strikes occurred and labor unions were formed to protest these conditions and get a better life.
Because of these labor protests, new political parties formed, such as the Workies and the Whigs. The Workies, also known as the Workingmen's Party, advocated for 10 to 11-hour workdays, along with other rights, such as free public education in 1828. The Whigs advocated for the government funding of internal improvements and created the Second Party system.
In 1842, in the Supreme Court case Commonwealth v. Hunt, Chief Justice Lemuel Shaw found that unions were legal if they followed the law in their protests. This validated labor unions and marked the beginning of workers gaining rights and advocating for themselves.
Despite labor protests in factories, another invention was created to make farming more efficient. The reaper, invented by Cyrus McCormick in 1847, used horsepower to cut and harvest crops quickly and easily, allowing less workers to be in the fields and more workers to move to the factories.
Because factory jobs were unpopular among Americans, immigrants became the major labor source for industries. Between 1845 and 1854, 3 million Irish and German immigrants came to America seeking jobs. This increase in immigration caused some Americans to believe that the immigrants were taking away jobs from Americans, and the Know-Nothings were formed in the 1850s. The Know-Nothings were an anti-immigrant group that tried to get legislation to pass to prevent immigrants from coming to America. In conclusion, the effects of the early Industrial Revolution were new inventions,
Creation of the factory system,
self-sufficiency in America,
nationalism,
new political parties,
and immigration.
Starring yours truly,
Amber Williams.
and April Williams. Thanks for watching.